are going live. And we're live.
Oh, we're on?
We're on.
It says live rec. Is that record?
Yeah, that's that's
Okay.
that's recording.
Why would they put it in red like it's a bad thing, right? Like red to me, right? Like when you see red, like stop
It is
signs
weird.
or it's red, it's like don't go there. So why would they put that in red on your screen? Live rec.
What do you mean the live record?
Yeah, why wouldn't they put it in a
Because they
like a
want you
nice
to
colour?
because they want you to see it and know that that's what you're doing. I mean,
Stop to me, don't hit me. That's what it says to me.
it's let me
Right?
see if I can get us up on why can't I get us up on
Oh, you trying to get us up on the phone?
yeah.
If anybody's in the room, hello, hello, hello. I don't know, because I can't see anybody that comes in or anything. So, but hello, if you're there. We're just,
Yeah, if you guys are there, we're just trying to work something. It's showing that we're live.
we're playing silly buggers right now. Just, Beckett's, Beckett's piss bowling about as usual. Freaking taking his time, messing around.
It was working
Freaking,
just fine. All right, we're fine. We're fine. I see it. Okay,
are
we're
you
good.
sure?
Yeah,
It's that
yeah, I can see
bloody
us right
that
there.
interview.
There's nobody else.
Why's
It's
your,
just us in here right now. It's
your
just us in
camera,
here.
your
So,
camera's looking a bit skoopsky. It's like fuzzy.
well, what?
You're a bit fuzzy, matey. You're not as sweet and crisp as you normally are.
Well, probably because I'm using my laptop and I'm outside. I mean,
Oh,
but on the end, if I'm looking at it online, it's fine.
oh, I thought it was you.
It's not looking fuzzy.
I thought it was the lighting, not lighting up your beauty, Beckett.
Oh, you're so funny. No, I don't think that's it.
Dude, I nearly forgot my light, right? I forgot, I came in here, I didn't have the computer set up, I didn't have the light set up. And it was one of those when you think, you look at the time, and I'm like, oh, I've got an hour and a half, right?
Right.
And then I go off and I did some meditating and I did some breath work and shit like that. And then I got into some music and I'm buzzing, waiting to get on with Beckett. You know, I'm like, yeah, buzzing away. And then I look and I call out to my missus and I'm like, hey, what's the time? And she's like, it was like 37 minutes to or something. I'm like, oh shit. So I ran down and I'm like, oh no, I ain't got my computer. So I'm running back. Oh, mate. Yeah. Jeez, running away. I forgot my light, and I'm like, is my light shining right? It's not like making my head look like a snooker ball, right? Like a pool ball, right? Make sure the light's right. Don't like, don't
Your
have
light
this
looks
freaking
fine.
thing.
Everything looks fine. I don't understand why you think that would be the case.
What?
Anyways, it,
What with the lighting? The lighting's got to be right, though,
yeah.
isn't it? Otherwise you're gonna look like a light muppet, right? I
Well,
mean,
that was like here. I was like, I'm outside. You know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out, do I need a light? And it's like, whatever. It's natural.
nah,
Like we were
you're a
just
good
talking
man.
about. It is what it is.
I love it.
It is. It
What's
is what
that?
it is.
What's that bottle say on it? What's that say?
What?
Artist. What's that say? Artist?
Oh, on my water bottle?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says artist.
Oh, that's cool. Is that a
Yeah,
transfer or you bought it like that?
it was like a sticker. I have like a thing. Okay, so here's the thing, and this is random and not even on the topic we're talking about, but I have a thing for stickers. So I have like a whole thing of them. So
No
when I got this
shit.
water bottle, I
Right.
was like, what black and white stickers do I have? And so I just made the whole bottle black and white.
Oh,
Like
check
that's
that
literally
out.
the story.
What? It
Yeah, and
looks
then
it
that's
looks
like
like you
my
bought it like that.
no, I put it like that. I created it like that.
So what's the skull and crossbone bit? What's that?
It's actually some art material that I got. That I just the thick paint that I just purchased, and I'm getting it's like it looks like almost like frosting. It's his. It's got two artist paint palettes, so it's just his sticker that came. It's like they're two
Huh.
like
Oh,
that.
all right. Okay.
So
So he makes the product. Is that what it is?
Yeah, he makes the art. So he makes the art that is the he makes the paint. So he's a thick artist. So what's interesting is and talking about the stuff, I think we're even the only ones. Whatever. He makes paint that's really thick, so you can sculpt with it in paint. It takes like 4 days to dry.
Wow.
So yeah,
Build it up,
he
or does it
likes
go
to.
on straight? Do you have to build it up, or
Well, he even has it to where he uses and you'll know this, like piping bags, like cake decorating bags.
holy shit?
Yeah, to
Wow.
paint with it. So yeah, so it's a really thick, heavy textured acrylic paint. So he didn't like any that he could find, so he started creating his own. So now he sells it because all his artwork is kind of got this thick paint, so it creates this 3D dimensional thing.
Wow, no shit. Because my friend paints in that way, like thick. You know,
Right,
like
right.
you look if you go to the side of the canvas, you can see it's like sticking out where it's built with layers, and she tells me she's like, oh, there's several different stories, layers thick. You know, where
Yeah,
she just goes over the top. She's like, eh, and then she'll go over the top. Huge canvases, right? It's really impressive. I love
right.
it, right? Because you walk into her place and it just says artist.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's freaking banging, dude. It's everything. The lamp, the couch, the it's all just it's like, ah, yeah, this is banging, right? So she's got these
yeah,
massive canvases, and I remember turning to the side and just seeing it all like out and in, and it looked like fucking mountains when you right when you looked across it. It was yeah, cool as shit. Building it up
yeah.
like that.
I'm excited to try his because I've been called to that. I've definitely, which kind of goes into what we're even trying to talk about, which is I'm trying to get back into my art. I'm trying to allow that part of me kind of died off for a little while, and so I'm now
Right.
trying to touch base again with it. You know.
Right. Well, let's start with that really, because I mean, I was thinking about the conversation we were going to have a little while ago while I was out on my walk this morning,
Right.
right? And I thought, blimey, there's two different extremes here, you and me, as far as you got really forced into a way of change, right? Because of your
Yeah.
freaking head injury, all of a sudden, who am I? Right? So you
Right.
and with me it was a conscious thing that we've spoken about before. Where I went into my therapist one day and I knew it was just this knowing of if I don't step and make that step from that guy into whatever I'm going to be, which that's how Cockney Buddha come into it, right?
Right.
Then there's no escaping. You're just going to stay in that thing. So with me, it was like a conscious thing. With you, it was like I've got, I ain't got no choice. I've got right.
Right.
They don't know who I am. That normally gets you going, right?
Right.
Wake up in the morning and you're like, who the hell am I? And you just freaking erased a whole bunch. Your sense of smell's gone. Your taste is gone. You freaking, someone that you did know is don't exist.
Right.
So how did
Well,
that
and the
work?
thing is, we die all the time, and I think that's to your point, what you're talking about. Like you went through a major transformation. I've gone it, but and even dealing with clients, and you've probably seen this, is we're constantly dying, right? Like right now, I'm kind of going through a new death
Hmm.
of trying to figure out. And we briefly talked about this, and it's kind of one of these topics that's taboo, but like sex magic and sex energy, and what do you believe around that? And I did an amazing podcast that's coming out next week with an anthropologist
Right. Right.
on gender and culture, and it kind of circles back to that because we were ended up talking about like polyamory and why do we believe the things we do? Why do we believe that marriage is with one human being and another? Why do we feel the need to, like her point was, why do I need to take my husband's name and lose my total identity to say that I love somebody?
Right. Good point.
Why do we do that, right? You know what I mean? And her whole point, and it's an amazing, we went for 2 hours. It's an amazing podcast. And it was all about like questioning our own beliefs and our conditioning. We do
Yeah.
things, and it kind of goes back to the things we've talked about. Like 90% of our day is habitual, but 90% of also our thinking is habitual.
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you
Then
start
same with
questioning those beliefs
day
and
before that, it's same.
right,
Yeah.
right, she had me thinking about things. I was like, huh, why do we like even her question kind of brought to me was drove her crazy about the spiritual community was this idea of masculine and feminine energy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which I was
Right.
like, whoa,
Right.
right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
why are we labeling it that? Why isn't it just energy? Why are why do you believe what you believe? And I
Or
think
look at languages, they do
energy
that as well,
guides
right?
us,
Male and
right?
female. Is it French? French? Is it French?
What?
I might be wrong. That do like they it's male and feminine. I remember doing it in school, like learning French, and they were saying that there's certain ways in French that you say things, address things that are feminine and male.
Right.
I remember that. I remember doing that in. I swear I did that. I might be blowing smoke up your ass, but I swear I did that in school. Right. I've probably got the like the French population going, ah, you freaking tit. Yeah, that's not it. But I swear I got taught that. Might be wrong though.
Well, I
Don't know.
mean, even when I learned Spanish, that was the same thing. You know what I mean? Like Spanish was like there's a male way to say things, there's a female way to say things, and inclinations, and in a way I get it, but it really, if we're not losing our masks, and we have many, and that's redefining freedom. It's like people are like, well, what is holding me back? It's what mask are you portraying to the world, right? Like for you, it was that mask of the heavy metal, dark, right? That was all a mask. It was
Sure.
covering up whatever you needed it to cover up at the time,
Yeah.
until you realize this mask isn't serving me anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It wasn't until I really started the bloody work in therapy properly. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I even turned up to my first therapy session, mate, all metalled out, looking like death. Right, shorts and boots, and that's how I turned out to my first few sessions. I was that still that guy, you know.
Right.
So yeah, it took me having a conscious thing where I went in, sat in front. I remember doing it, sitting in front of my therapist and going, "I've got to leave old Steve behind." And she's like, "What? What do you mean?" And I'm like, "I saw it this morning. I stepped out of him. I'm like, right, I've got to step out of you and step into something else, whatever that was." Right. So that was, yeah, it's freaking scary, mate, because you like leave that
Well,
behind.
right, because you don't really know what you're stepping into, right? It's not an
Hmm.
actual costume that you're like, oh, I'll take this off and put this one on. It's like, okay,
Hmm.
I no longer believe this or want to engage in this or whatever, but then what does that mean? And that's where I've learned for myself and working with others, right? That's the fear comes in because if we don't know how to embrace the unknown. Instead of looking at it and almost that's where I have to tap into my being an artist, right? A blank canvas is a blank canvas. It's a beautiful thing. Anything can be created,
Yeah.
right? So same thing with our lives. If you don't know, that's a great place to be. I always tell people that. If you don't know, that's a great place to be because now you can experiment and you can try and you can trust and you can say, I can create anything I want right now. I can be anybody I want to be right now. And what does that look like? And how
Right.
can I start stepping into that, right?
What was it
Because
like for
otherwise,
you?
huh?
I mean, what was it like for you though? Because it wasn't like you had a conscious. With me, it's a conscious thing, right?
Yeah,
Right. I mean, I walked into my therapist and I'm like, listen, I know where I'm at. I know there's got to be like a drastic something going on here for me to be able to start stepping into this and follow this.
right, right,
Right. It was a conscious thing of like, oh, even down to my freaking earring that I had in for years and years and years and years. I looked in the mirror one day and I'm like, that's got to go. I mean, it literally just everything shifted everything, which we can go into.
yeah,
But with you, it's like completely different from where I was at in that step in. It
yeah.
was like, here you go, here's a situation, right? You freaking didn't know shit. You lost your memory.
But yeah, you don't. I mean, you just. I mean, it was just forced. So to me, you kind of just. That's where survival mode kicks in. You know what I mean? And you're just like, okay, I've just got to get through today, and because it was kind of just put upon me. But it was a huge transformation, sure. But I took it day by day, month by month. But oddly enough, that threw me into survival living, which then I had to unlearn. So there was another death out of that because it's like, okay, you're done with this. You're done being in survival mode. It's gotten you to where you need to be. Now you need to let go of that thinking and those beliefs of thinking like, okay, I've had a brain injury, so I can't do XYZ. But
Right,
we've
right.
learned that's not necessarily true, right? You know what I mean? So can
Yeah,
I? So I would always update my stimulation, where talking for 5 minutes took me 5 days to recover until it got down to like 1 day of recovering. So you kind of learn this formula of constantly dying and rebirth, dying and rebirth, dying and rebirth. And
yeah. Like every day, really.
for sure,
Every day.
every day.
Right? Thinking
Every
about
day
it.
we go to bed, we wake up. That's a death and a rebirth, right? We
Yeah,
can't relive
yeah.
tomorrow. We can't relive tomorrow even if we wanted to. You can't. You can in here in your memory,
Right,
but
right.
but you can't physically relive it. And so you've got to let that go. And yet we spend a lot of our time living in the past of thinking, well, this happened or this they did this or
Why
this
we keep
happened 20
reliving.
years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Why do you think we keep punishing ourselves though? What's your thought on that?
I mean, that's a layered answer, but I think a good part of that is worthiness. We
Yeah,
don't feel worthy of. It was interesting. The podcast I was listening to this morning, which was in something that's coming up, is we don't feel worthy of pleasure, but we feel very worthy of suffering.
yeah. And that crazy, dude. We
Yeah.
really do. We'll take suffering on and go, yeah, deserve that.
Right.
But
Right.
we
Well,
won't take something pleasurable and say we deserve that.
right.
Yeah,
So that's why people say, well, I don't have time to meditate or I don't have time to. That's pleasurable. I don't have time to pleasure in anything. I don't have time to enjoy my food. I don't have time. We don't think we're worthy of pleasure, but suffering will take on full throttle. I'll relive that moment or I'll think about that time this person said that or and we'll just play it and play it and play it and play it. And it's like, that when you think about that, that's insanity.
keeps you in grief.
Well, right. Well, it
'Cause
keeps you small, right? It
yeah,
keeps you small. It keeps you thinking I'm not capable of more. I'm not worth of more. It keeps your relationships toxic because now you're bringing in toxic people because you think that's what you're worth. You don't think you're worth,
right, right.
being loved the right
Anything
way. So
bigger.
it
Yeah,
affects your whole life.
yeah. You stay in a job that you hate, right? Because that's all I can do. That's all I'm worth. That's all I know. Right?
Yeah.
And then you just stay in this constant. I'm hoping she's going to listen to this, but there's somebody out there that's just quit a six-figure job
Wow.
because because of the hate that they have for it, and it's just completely snatching away from their joy. And they're going through a process, right? I've had words, through messages and shit like that, where they're like, "Fuck," right? And they're like,
Well,
"Oh,
yeah,
I
because
get it."
again, we value that, right? The money we think, well, that's success. But is it success? I mean, I remember it got to a point in my movie career where they were grooming me to be a producer, and I had to move to New York or LA to continue my career. I had gotten to that point, and I thought, I don't want to be the type of person you have to be at the time to be a movie producer. It was not pretty.
Which was
People,
what was it? What did you have to be?
yeah, I always say if you can work in the movies and you can work in like tobacco, which are two industries I worked in, you can do anything because the movie industry there was no like sexual harassment, there was no guidelines. Like it pretty much like we saw with the Me Too movement, anything and everything went. You're
Yeah,
treated, I was sworn at and things thrown at me, and I mean, like there was no level of decency or even repercussions to that because it was like
yeah,
we're celebrities and we make millions of dollars and it's the kind of like this I'm entitled. I'm
yeah, yeah.
entitled. I remember
Entitlements.
yeah, yeah. I remember this producer one time walking out to me and handing me at the time it was a VHS tape and said, "Play this for me." And I looked at my boss who was, under the producer but still high up and I said, "What does he want me to do?" And she said, "He wants you to go into his office, put the VCR tape in the player and hit play." Now, mind you, the time, yes, it took this man to come to me to hand me the VCR tape. He could have walked to his VCR and hit play.
You was doing that for him.
Yeah.
He wanted you. He came out to tell
Yes.
you and
Yes.
gave you the. Oh, this bullshit, mate. Are
But
you
that's the
bullshitting
point.
me?
No. I'll tell you another thing. I was on with legal, so I was doing clearances, which is anytime you see something in the movie, it has to be cleared. So, like, say this was a Pepsi, right? I
Yeah,
would have to call Pepsi and say, "We're going to use this Pepsi in this scene. Is it okay? Do we get your clearance?" So
yeah, sweet.
I had boxes of stuff around my desk. I got a lot of free swag because anything that you recognized in a movie has to be cleared, and that was one of my jobs. And I was on the phone with MGM Studio legal lawyers talking about these clearances. I had to talk to Leonardo DiCaprio's agent because we were going to use a Titanic poster and whatever. So I'm on the phone talking, right? And the producer comes out again with a new pair of sneakers. And he's waiting next to me with these new pair of sneakers. And I thought to myself while I'm on the phone, this dude wants me to lace up his shoes. He's got another
No,
thing coming.
no, no, no,
So
no, no.
so so I pivot, think I'm just going to focus on the lawyers because he knows what I'm doing is important and I'm on with some high guys at MGM, so he's not going to really bother me. So he walks across the office to the production assistant who's below me, one level, whatever. Literally puts him on her desk and says, "Will you lace up my shoes?" and walks away.
No, for real, mate. I
Yeah,
got visions of what I would do.
for real. For real.
Wow,
Right.
wow.
Right. So they weren't producers typically, and I met one who I love. He's still in the field, and I won't mention any names. And he kind of took me
Yeah,
under his wing, and he still asks about me. I have a lot of friends in the movies, and he was an amazing producer. But a lot of the producers were just egotistical, nasty, not really nice, didn't give a flying F about anybody. It was this. Here's my shoes, you lace them up. Here's my tape, you play it. You know what I mean? It was just, I'm
yeah.
like, I'm like, no,
Bullshit,
man.
mate.
Like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that. This was my dream, and I got to my dream and went, this ain't the dream. So to your point, circling back what you said,
Yeah, yeah.
about the person leaving the six figures, you have to make those tough decisions sometimes and say, yes, maybe this was my dream, but this isn't the dream isn't coming what I thought it would be.
Right,
Right? The
right.
money ain't worth the misery. Or for me, I'm not willing to be that person to make, and I could have made a lot of money. I mean, I could, if I had went, I would have been a very successful producer, probably living somewhere in
Sure.
Hollywood, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to compromise who I wanted to be to get that dream.
Well, it's compromising your own personality too. You
Yeah.
know, even if you, even if you're not chasing, say, the money, what are you chasing? Your ego,
Right.
right? And it's again, it's like leaving that to grow. You got to be able to see that and freaking be able to leave that.
Right.
And like it's what or you did, and what I did. It was looking at those pieces, even the pieces you may have liked,
Yeah.
right? Because to me, it was like a freaking package deal, right? It wasn't like, oh, I'll take this. No, it was like, right, shift, right?
Yeah.
And people like that are in that kind of mindset, I feel bad for them because they're stuck. They're completely stuck. They're in the wheel. They're just hamster wheeling, and they're doing that because they're fearing for something, right? They're not out of some kind of freaking fear. So they're treating people because of their own freaking fears of whatever's hanging over their head, right? And it just goes down the line. So it's like, no, you're right. It's like that, if you want to change self, it means keep stepping away from
Right.
that self. Yeah. Take some balls,
Well,
man. It ain't easy.
no, it ain't easy. And that's the tough part that people realize because I hear that all the time. People will say that, well, easier said than done, and I'm like, who told you that life was going to be easy?
Right.
Who
Right.
told you weren't going to have to make these tough decisions to get the life that you really want? You're going to have to, and sometimes to your point, like I love the movies, I love the experience. I did it for 8 years. I met some amazing people. I was a part of some major projects. It was my dream, and I accomplished that dream. But it was like, the end goal. I wanted to make movies to affect people in a positive way. I didn't
Right,
want to. I didn't
right,
want to be what it was turning out to be, and I'm like, this ain't what I signed up for. You know what I mean? This isn't
right.
what I thought it would be.
It's funny how you're in
You
it
got to
now.
pivot.
You make it. I mean,
Yeah.
you're doing lives. You're making kind of your movies, right? It's a movie. I
Right.
put it on my freaking TV. When I watch you, it's on my TV. You're pretty
Right.
big because I got a 70-inch screen. So you're like freaking huge up on my near my wall, mate. Didn't realise you were so big. Crikey. Um, meet you. You're freaking like probably about 8 foot tall and freaking unbelievable. Uh, but no, it is leaving. Honestly, the it's continually examining, I believe, and not just before we come on here. I was telling you, I realised yesterday, I'm pulling. There's another bit of a pull away, and I'm thinking, especially from what you said as well, there's that grief with that.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
that leaving something behind that has not been. It's been a benefit, right? I'm proud, and we was talking about London and one thing the other, to catch because people will be like, "What the f- is he talking about?" Right? I'm
We
talking to
literally
you
know
like,
what you're referencing. Your
yeah, well,
addiction dynamic.
we had a great chat, uh, right? But it's that I came to the realization that I was so much attached to the city where I come from
Yeah.
that I believe that there's a bit of I've only just come to this realize literally yesterday that there's an addiction to that. There's that draw. There's that pull to that. You know, and that's an old self. So it's being aware of that because I've had a whole bunch of emotions going on and freaking all kinds of shit happening, right? Not realizing what's going on or what's happening. And it's that, I believe now, a pull away a bit and the grieving and shit coming out and anger over certain things. And there's all kinds of shit going on. Well, you affect me like freaking, you, I,
But was the
I,
anger the association with the city and the memories?
yeah, just a lot of the old me that's there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
a lot of the suppressed anger as well.
Yeah.
All the bullying that went on because I was even bullied on the street, right? So even though I
Really?
was a street, yeah, oh yeah, school and street. Even though I was a street kid, I was
Yeah.
freaking gone, mate. I went homeless, God knows where, skateboard, whatever, gone, right? Um, but yeah, I got bullied. I got bullied on the street as well. So it all whenever I go back, I love going back. I'm seeing family. It's not a thing where I'm like, oh, I do like walking, but it's got that draw, man. It definitely holds that draw, but it also holds all those things that I can see. Sometimes I walk around and I see areas. I can look out my mum's back window and I can see the freaking trees where I was dragged on my back up and down, up and down. I was getting rammed into a tree. One kid had one leg, another kid had the other. I'm on my back, and they're dragging me up and down the green on my back,
Jeez.
ramming me into a tree, turning round, running the other way, and the tree between my legs, like bosh, and then turn, you know, and that doesn't go away,
Yeah.
right? I'm 55. I look out the window, boom, here it is, right?
Yeah.
So it's leaving that. It's being able to leave, and I've been dealing with that and pulling away from that a lot. But leaving that old Steve, yeah, I remember that. Just like, okay, I've got to freaking, this is it. Step away from that. What do I do? Stepping into that unknown, like you said, you don't know.
Yeah.
Step into it. Now what? Right? but it was just like, okay, follow a different way, man. Start
Well, those
following.
moments,
Go on.
yeah, those moments are your portals. Do you know what I mean? They're, and I think that's what people don't realize. Like when things come up, and we want to say, well, that's bad, or I don't want to feel it. And I know you would even text me. Apparently, someone's at the door. Um, right? And I said, just, I know they're crazy. You just feel the anger. I know. Hey, no, they're good. They can't even see anything. They just hear stuff, and sometimes
Talking of
that takes you
feeling
long
anger,
enough to get them off the couch. Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
dogs are angry.
I know. They're like, right, we're angry too. We hear you. It
What can we do? Becky.
well,
No.
exactly, but to the point, like them, right? Do you know what I mean? And almost in essence, when you can look at nature and go, they allow themselves to feel what they feel. And I think when your anger and stuff comes up from a situation, and that was something this anthropologist was talking about, right? Where we grew up, our culture, our cities, that all affects us. And
Mhm.
we do have those memories, but now you are ready. Those memories are coming up saying, "Hey, see us. We're ready for you to heal us and let it go."
Mhm.
Right? And
Mhm.
re-alchemize that energy in that area, because that's a portal instead of like, and to your point, this is where we like the suffering. Let me just keep
Yeah.
replaying it instead of pulling away like you were doing and saying, what is this?
Right.
Right?
Right.
What is
Right.
this trying to show me and teach me? And then how can I work with it now? Because I'm not that kid anymore.
Right. And a lot of it is, like you said, the worth, guilt.
Yeah.
You know, you get a lot of it which keeps you freaking there. You can't move
Right.
outside of it because of that. And you every time you move a certain way or you think a certain way that's for you, a boundary which wasn't done. I didn't know what boundaries were, right? So
Right.
all of a sudden someone puts a boundary on you. Freaking pieces of shit, right? Because you're like, you don't know what bound, you don't know what it is. You don't know they're protecting themselves. You think you're taking that as they're being assholes,
Right.
right? So that's how you build because you don't know what any of it. You don't know people protecting themselves. You're like, they're a bunch of assholes, right? Until you learn, step out of the old you and look why, and learn that, right?
Right.
Otherwise, yeah, you just keep punishing yourself, man. Guilt and I don't want to lay a boundary because and then that's going to push them away. No, that's there for you to protect your ass, not them.
Well, right. And that's what people don't realize. Boundaries are all about you. They're about you and your expansion and what feels good for you. It's not so much about the other people. And you're right. People who if you don't have boundaries and they're benefiting somebody, they're not going to like it when you put up a boundary. And that's a good indication that you know that somebody isn't honoring you for you. They're using you for whatever they want to, whatever you're giving them.
Probably your energy,
Yeah, well,
right?
yeah, your energy on so many levels. Yeah, because when people are like, "Oh, well, you're different. Why are you doing that?" It's like, well, because this is a boundary now, and you can't. I'm not doing this anymore with you. You know what I mean? Like or
Yeah,
with whoever it is. I'm not doing this anymore. And then they're like, "Well, what?" Which
right,
people who love you will respect that and honor that and be like, "Yeah, man, I hear you. Great. I honor your
right,
boundaries." But people
right.
who don't like boundaries are going to be like, "Oh, I don't like this."
Yeah. Did you find
And
you
I think
saying the people that they're not going to like it, right? Did you find when you shifted that people drifted from you?
oh, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a spiritual mama that I used to reference that she said that when you start creating boundaries and you raise your frequency, people will rise up with you or they'll bounce right the hell off your island.
Yeah, no
Like that's
shit.
it. That's
Yeah.
the two choices. People will rise with you or they'll bounce off your island. And I've stuck with that for years. I mean, she told me that God years ago and I was like, "Okay." And I've seen it over and over and over again because we do have the capacity as we raise our frequency, we raise it with the people around us and they'll either right raise up with us or they'll be like, this doesn't feel good, and they'll go away because they
Mm,
don't want that frequency. You
mhm.
know, it's just like you and I all the time. We talk before we get on here, and you're like, "Oh, I'm buzzing."
Yeah. Oh
Right?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We're at
The
that
the
frequency.
yeah. No, you're like freaking. You're like plugging into something. You're like right. Just fucking plug in. Just plug in. You got one of those things like the Matrix in the back of your head. You plug yourself in. Is that what you? So what are you doing in the back of that chair? You're like not even with us, are you? You're plugged into a different dimension. I'm not actually sitting in an office. I'm in some bubble floating or something.
Well,
You're on another level.
yeah, it's been crazy this last week, but it is true. And so people will also see that. I mean, I lost a lot of people with my brain injury. I
Oh,
lost a
no
lot of
doubt.
people. You know,
Yeah.
people that the people I thought would be there actually fell away, and people came in that I never expected to be there.
How did that affect you when people fell away?
Oh, it was hard, right?
Yeah.
But it made me realize because here's the thing: what the universe was showing me, and that was here's a moment where you have nothing to give,
Yeah.
nothing. Like
Yeah.
mentally, physically, I couldn't help anybody in any way, and I'm a big giver, but I had nothing to give, not even mental, like nothing. So if you take a soul and strip it of nothing and just let it kind of be here in the universe and go, okay, now let's see who comes to you and who, right,
Right.
co-creates with you and who loves you for simply just being you.
Right.
I don't need anything
Right.
from you. I don't want anything from you. I can just love you for being a human being. And that was a huge, awakening for me to see and be like, okay, I have to surrender to this because I had to.
Yeah. You had no choice.
No, there was
Right.
no choice.
Right.
There was
That's what
no
I mean. You
thinking
were
my way
forced.
out of it. There was no forcing my way. I had nothing, nothing.
Yeah.
My job was gone. My place, stability, like everything in my life was gone. You know what I mean? And you look at it and go, whoa, okay, like that's a scary place to be in the fact that I fully have to trust now in the energy and the universe that I speak of and trust
Mm-hmm.
that I'll be held and taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you
That's
know?
a
Let me ask you. I've never asked you this question. It's kind of because I know that you lost thought and all that shit, right? Did you with your brain injury? Did you recognize people like friends and that? No.
I did
So
at when I was out of the hospital I did. In the hospital, I had friends there, I had my family. I don't remember them being there. My friends had said one time when they were in the elevator, I think, with me, I was looking at one of my friends told me I was literally looking at her and she knew. She goes, it was like you were I was looking at someone who'd never seen me before.
oh
Like
shit.
you were
Yeah.
just
Wondering.
not there. And you weren't recognizing me at all.
Ah.
And so they knew that. They could see that in me. And I didn't know. I don't even remember. I barely remember. Like I said, I have flashes. So once I got out of the hospital, which was only 4 days, I still struggled with that. But I knew, like, even at moment I was in ICU and I woke up and saw my wife at the time sitting in the chair, but I didn't know that was my wife. I didn't know her name. I knew I was familiar
Oh,
with that soul, but I didn't really know. You know what I mean? You don't have that moment where you're like, oh, well, that's Steve or that's so and so. That
yeah.
didn't happen.
So
Yeah.
how did that
No.
start? Because I mean, we're talking about freaking old us, right? Right. I mean, you're
Right.
talking about now you're looking fucking people are strangers that are friends, right?
Well, I think that never even came into play because I wasn't even it's such a weird experience to try to verbalize to people because how do you explain something that's just so surreal that you died
Yeah.
without physically dying, right? Like meaning and yet your cognition of everything just it comes back online. I don't know how to even remotely explain it. There wasn't a moment of, oh, I'm in the hospital. There wasn't a moment, oh, I've had a brain injury. There wasn't a moment of, oh, I didn't remember you and now I do. You
Mm.
just slowly come back online, but you don't even realize that you're slowly coming back online.
Yeah. It just happens.
Yeah, your brain is just so, it's just a surreal experience of it just kind of come back online and you don't even really have recollection of it or remember it or any of that. How did
Yeah.
I remember to start eating again on my own? I don't know. I just did.
Yeah. I wonder if their brain does that for a reason. Because I'm wondering if it would be
Well,
too shocking if it was like,
yes, your brain. That's why I don't remember the accident. The brain knows to protect.
yeah.
Psychologically, just like and everybody. And I think this would lead us down a rabbit hole of where you can look at mental illness and right, you can say this person's schizophrenic or they have multiple personalities, which they know people create multiple personalities as a protection to
Yeah.
navigate harder traumatic experiences. So the brain is very good at knowing, okay, we need to shut this down or we need to, allocate this for your own survival. It knows
Hmm.
what it needs to do. It's innate for that. That's the whole point of the brain,
Hmm.
is to
Keep you
keep
safe.
us alive.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why we get
You
that
know.
overstimulation with anxiety, because there's nothing there to fear. But that's why I always say, okay, it doesn't just happen, right? There's
No.
something, there's something kicking off somewhere in this freaking amazing
Well,
computer
it's
of
a
ours.
it's a mis it's a misfiring, it's a miswiring of those neural pathways that's alerting you, right? That's why we're not meant to stay in survival mode. You actually are training your brain to stay in that mode. And that's
Right.
why, right, in epigenetics, all these things that you can start learning about the brain, you can reprogram your brain. You
Oh
can.
yeah. 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 For sure. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I mean, they
They've
even.
proven it.
I even read an article that said reading 6 minutes a day starts
Yes.
building the neural pathways of the brain.
Yeah.
It happens 6 minutes a day of reading.
Right.
That's, so if you think of what you can add onto that, read half hour. It's half hour. Sit, read.
Well, exactly. Just like meditation is not to stop your brain. You know what I mean? It's to connect to a different frequency and a different level, and teaching your body that it's okay
Mm,
to experience pleasure and to not always
right,
be worrying and stressed. That's really what
right,
meditation is about. It's about reprogramming your body to not always be in stress, because we live in a stressful society.
all the
You're
time.
get like we talked about, I think, what, like 100 million pieces of something, information a day that's coming. Like,
Right.
we're stressed out at levels that we were not meant for this.
Yeah. No, no, no. And we was talking yesterday, weren't we? When I spoke about, have you seen that the social dilemma?
Yeah.
The-
Social,
On
yeah.
I highly suggest people go and have a look at that. Anybody that sees this, it's freaking insane. The social dilemma on Netflix. Big shout out to
Yes.
that. It kind of put things in a little bit. I ain't all the way through it yet, and I'm like, whoa, shit,
Yeah.
because you don't realize the effect that shit's having. Talking about finding a new you, you're not finding a new you when you're freaking there scrolling through. You're somebody else's somebody
Right.
else's like advertisement, basically, right? They said you're guinea pigs, right? Because for
Well,
everybody
you
else
are,
out
because right, we're comparing ourselves to everybody else on social media
right,
constantly. Every time you're getting a like, every time you're seeing, like, did somebody like this? Did somebody do that? It's a dopamine hit.
yep,
But it's not, but what is it really doing for your life? That's why, like, I'll take social media breaks. I have a friend right
yeah,
now that's he went 30 days no social media. He's continuing. I went a year off of Facebook, and social media. I take them because you realize you really shift your life
yeah,
when you can break away and see what are you, because we're comparing ourselves to things that don't shouldn't be compared.
right. Becomes your world. It,
Yeah.
it really does become part of it becomes your reality. But you're
Yeah.
not living. You're living the reality of this. I mean, people don't even freaking call anymore. Message.
Right. Right.
I'm just as much to blame for this shit. I'm no angel here. I'm no freaking like, you know,
Well, we all are. We all are.
I catch
We all
myself,
do it.
but we all bloody do it, mate. Yeah. But before you know it, you're not being an authentic you,
Right. Well,
right?
and you might not even know what you are, right? And that's this deconditioning of what we're talking about. It's You've got to be mindful of what am I consuming, and that means in here, what am I
Yeah,
spending? Just like on the iPhones, you'll get a weekly update. You've spent whatever 8 hours a day
yeah, yeah, yeah.
on your phone.
I get
You know
that.
what I mean? Some people think about that. You got 24 hours in a day, 8 of them you spent on your phone.
Yeah, yeah. And my problem is, I said to my daughter the other day, because what did I do? I used the clock on my phone and not a watch. right?
Right.
So there it is on the arm of the chair. Oh, what's the time? I got a text. Right? You
Right.
freaking
Right.
oh, right? Straight away, there you are. Now you're swimming. Right? You're not you no more. Right? You're there you are. You're becoming that again. Just by and I said to my daughter, I'll get my watch fixed. I got a watch. Got one.
Well,
Right?
I've got a time watch. That's like right now I have a Fitbit watch, but I have other watches. Why I won't get an Apple Watch? I won't get one. I don't want one. I
Right.
don't want to get notifications on my wrist, and I just want to know the time.
Yeah,
That's
that's
all I
what my
want.
watch is. And that, yeah, that's why it's got a nice
Right.
face with hands. It's amazing.
Right.
They actually work. The hands, when you put a
Right.
battery in, they actually move. They actually move. You don't have to have digital readouts. It's a lazy ass again, isn't it? Really, think about it. Digital
Yes.
over analog, right? What is it? It tells your brain that little split second quicker what the time is
Right.
over the hands, because the hands actually has to maybe look at it and go, is that a small hand like split? But it's the same thing. It's making us lazy
Right.
again. Digital.
Right.
Oh, analog. Oh, you've actually got to look at it, right?
Right. Well, and that's the thing, and that's why I think it's fascinating. You see people going back to records and now film, actual film, and cameras. As a photographer, I grew up with film.
Yeah,
And
right.
the beauty about film is you get one shot. And so
Yeah,
there's a patience with getting the shot. Whereas digital, it's like, well, I'll just shoot, 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 and eventually one of these will catch the right shot. But that's a
yeah,
whole different mindset and a whole different artistry than if you're using actual film in a camera.
right,
You know what I mean?
right,
You've got to
right.
there's a process to it. And I think this is where, right, our attention span now is less than a goldfish.
That don't surprise me. Yeah, I
No,
think I've got
they've shown
goldfish rolling around in my head, actually. Swims around
that.
up here like goldfish. So every now and again, I get a bright sparking idea. That's where it's knocked me somewhere. It's like, oh, all right. Like we were talking about the old cricket sound. Have I got
Right. Yeah, you should.
this one?
Yeah.
All right. My wife hears that a lot. Uh, Steve, can you do the vacuuming?
Right.
Right. Go and get the groceries, Steve.
Right. Well, I
Not
mean,
really.
it's like phone numbers, right? We don't even remember phone numbers. If we don't have our phone, we were without a phone and needed a call in emergency. I mean, now there's no pay phones. People don't even remember. They're like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know their number. I wouldn't know
Yeah,
how to call home.
yeah, right. Freaking no idea. What do? Call Tracy. That's what I do. My wife.
Right.
Call Tracy. And then you bitch when it don't connect. Damn freaking phone. Just open it up and dial the number in there. Freaking hell. Come on, what's the matter with you? You stand there 10 minutes shouting into your phone. Trying to get it to work when all you can do is go blip. Hello. And you're straight. There's none of this. I don't
Right.
know what you're saying, or I've been sent through
But
to
all of
somebody I
that,
don't know. God.
right, is deteriorating our brains. I mean, when I worked in the movies, we had pagers.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what
the
I
old
mean? I
pager.
remember
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you had a pager, and then you had to go find the payphone and then dial the number and be like,
Yeah,
"What?
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, what
yeah.
do you need?
With
Well, we need
coins.
you to do this."
The old freaking coins. We used to, we had like
Right?
2p in there. We you have to put a coin. You're going up to somebody, hey mate, you got a few 2, but they knew
Yeah.
you needed your own
Right. And the
booth.
operator would come on, right? Like 10 cents more for another minute or something. You'd be like, "I gotta
Yeah,
go. I don't have enough change." You know what I mean? It's like,
10, 9. Hey, yo, just got to
right.
squeeze 5. Hang on a minute. I didn't want to click. Oh shit, your pocket.
Right. You're
Get the
trying to find the
directions, son of a bitch. We got talking. Anybody can. Right, been
right.
there.
Then you're looking, right? You open the door and you're like, hey, you got 25 cents. You got a coin, like
The people that are waiting,
change.
and they're going, it's going to pay for freaking 25 cents. That's like, yeah, thanks.
Right.
Back
Right.
when
And we're not, but all of that is problem solving and mental capacities and stuff that we're not doing anymore. You know what I mean? And people
right,
don't understand that. And
right.
so as you're freeing up your mind and you're not having to make the decisions, I mean, hell, we got cars now that will back in for you and not you drive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's fine. that's great. I'm not dogging it, but then what are you filling your mind with now that it's empty, not doing those things? And
Well, it
it's
takes away your
social
skill,
media.
doesn't it? Think about it, right?
Yes.
My wife is banging at reverse parking. Take the cameras out, all that, and stick shift, whatever,
Right,
banging
right,
reverse park up. Me, I miss the tit when it comes to reverse parking, right? I'm terrible at it. I've never been good at it. And as soon as they was like, they brought out the cars where they're like, hey, let's put a 45-inch screen TV in your car. There you go.
right.
If you come
Because
back
that
up with
makes sense.
it, there's a problem, right? So I'm like, oh yeah, I can reverse park. Beautiful. Good for me, but takes
Right,
away the skill from my wife because guess what now? My wife's looking at the screen. She never used
right.
to. Freaking banging. I used to see her bang cars in spaces like, wow. Like, she's really good,
Well, yeah,
right?
because it's a skill. And so what people don't understand is while I always said we're going to end up like Wally, the Disney movie Wally,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I
where
kind
it's
of
like
look like
floating
Wally.
around and they're like,
But
you're right, today's right, the screens are there and the today, and hopefully we don't, but the where we're starting to have identity crisis and freedom is yes, we're freeing up our minds from having to make these decisions. And it goes back to when I did that meditation retreat, right? They took away all our everyday decisions. They took
right,
them all away. When
right,
you were going to
right.
wake up, when you were going to eat, when you were going to sit. So you can kind of look at that as a bigger picture in society is what they're starting to do.
Yeah,
The thing with that is now that those are all taken away, what are you filling your mind with? And with us, we were meditating, we were practicing, we were getting more in touch with our inner selves, we were
yeah,
dealing with our stuff. But as a society, what are you doing? Well, now they're
right,
filling it with social media, they're filling it with fear, they're filling it with propaganda, they're filling it with all sorts of, this is horrible and this stinks and you're not worth this and that's getting inundated. And if people aren't mindful of that, now you got all this
right,
open space,
right,
it's creating
right.
anxiety, depression. I'm not worthy enough. I'm not good enough. Who
Yeah,
am I?
I
And
don't look like that.
right, right. I don't have a full head of hair.
Oh, easy. Easy, Beckett. Oh, have a look. That's it. I'm done. Freaking done.
As a school bus.
I'm out.
But exactly. But in my point is like you own it and love it, and that's the thing, right? We're all
Yeah,
gonna get older. We're all gonna age. We're all gonna go through something like that, and understanding and realizing I'm good.
right,
I'm good.
right,
I'm
right,
good the way I
right.
look. I'm good the way I am. And that's where you're seeing people awaken. But that's the real freedom. It's not in being told, it's understanding from within that you are perfect. Exactly the way
Right.
you are.
And that's the new you. That's
Right.
stepping out of something that you stop punishing yourself with
Right.
and stepping in. And yes, you take some freaking knocks. There's some shit that comes up. You do your therapy. You stay consistent. You use your tools. Use your people. I've spoken to you a couple of times where I'm like, fuck, I got shit going on here, right? Well,
Right.
and we've talked back and forth a little bit, and it's stretching out and using your resources, because stepping into a new you is completely and utterly different. I mean, but there's also complete and utter freedom with it, and there's a complete and utter journey with it, and there's a complete learning experience and lessons with it. It's not, and that can sound scary, but it's a toy shop, right?
Right.
When I was a little kid and mum took me into a toy shop, wow, that's
Right.
what it is to me. It's like, right, what's next? What can I, and even the experience I had this week that I was talking to you about before we came on, where I was like, ooh, this is a bit heavy, where I went a bit in my head, right? Even looking at them, what happened? I brought it into therapy and I learned something about myself. So now it's like, oh, that's another piece. Let's
Right.
move, right? And it's looking at those pieces, understanding them, and moving into a different self, and knowing what your power is, knowing what your strength is, because you have it taken away with the old you. It's learning
Right.
that, and it's hard.
Well, and it's appreciating and understanding that we have the ability to change, right? We're always changing every day, every moment, and that it's okay. I think something I was talking about the other day with somebody was like, bliss, when you really think about bliss, and people were like, it's allowing yourself to feel a feeling fully.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, people
That's
don't
bliss.
understand it. Yeah,
Right. They don't
yeah,
understand that. Well, what do you mean? I don't want to feel numb fully. Because numb is a feeling.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Just like anger
Right.
is a feeling or anything else. It's like, but that's your portal. When you can allow yourself, because feelings want to be felt. They don't want to be swummed. They don't want to be attached and suffered, but they want to be felt. And the more you can process and allow yourself to feel and go, okay, I feel raw. Okay, well,
Right.
feel raw. Feel raw. Like, feel completely raw.
Yeah, yeah. And what is it? That's where I
Right?
go. What is that? Right?
Right.
Oh, I'm
Right.
feeling angry, but what is it?
Right.
Everybody knows what anger is. Everybody can see it. Everybody can identify with it. Everybody knows the feeling of it, of what it actually does. But what is it really? What's it
Right.
covering?
Right.
So
Most
I
of the time,
always
it's
do that.
sadness.
What's that? Sorry?
Most of the time, it's sadness.
Yeah, because it's a we see it as a weakness. I'm
Right.
sad. I'm weak. It's not like that. You can be sad and still be a strong ass. I nearly freaking really
Yes.
swore bad. MFer, right? Nearly, Becky.
Well, it's
Nearly.
key to that. We're here to do that, and that is the point of being here. We're here to feel all the feelings, right? And
Right,
when you lose that, I remember I took that. I think I've talked about it. I took an 8 week course on the Four Agreements book, which is amazing. And by the end of the week, it made us. By the end of the 8 weeks, it was like, okay, I'm not this, and I'm not that, and I'm not this. Like, I'm not all these things I think I am. Those all drop to the floor. Then what am I?
right, right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You know what's?
Right?
You know
And
what's?
you feel
Go on, sorry.
naked and raw.
Yeah, the raw peak. Yeah, because it's allowing. When you allow, you can feel that naked. It's okay to feel naked. It's okay not to
Yeah.
know.
Right.
It's okay not to know, but but we can also do something about that and start using tools to say write it down, or I don't know what this is. I have my guys come in and go, Steve, I don't know what the freaking hell's going on, and I'm like, all right, tell me, and then they start talking, and then we start guiding it somewhere. But it's funny how in our practices and what we do personally, you and I, as far as meditating and all that, and we look for a white light, right? Come down, energize you. What's freaking white light broken into? It's not actually white, right?
Right.
It's
Right.
freaking thousands and thousands of different spectrums of colors that make up that one light. Well,
Right.
all those thousands and splintered pieces of different colors are the different pieces of us that we
Yeah.
that we look at, and we work out each one of those pieces that comes together, and that's the white light, right? Because that's what we pull to us all the time. Come
Right.
down, energize me, surround me, protect me, right? And that's broken up. That protection is broken up into many different shards of different colors. So,
Yeah.
and we're all like that. We're all the same. We're all
Well,
shards
yeah,
of
and that's
different.
why you got the chakra system. They're all different colors. The red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the blue. You know what I mean? In all
Yeah,
different areas, and you can work with different colors. So, I mean, I think the key to starting is just start questioning.
yeah,
And that
yeah.
kind of ties back to mindfulness. But if you're not liking something and going, like, there was a exercise I got asked. I was on a podcast. These guys asked me, is there an exercise you do? And I said there is. And something I've done with my clients is doing a piece of paper and sharing on the one side, what do you have, right, that you want more of,
Mm,
and what don't you want more of. It's
mm,
simple getting that clear and writing that down, and then what are the beliefs and the
mm,
feelings tied to those.
mhm,
Because
mhm.
whatever's in your life that you don't want more of, what do you believe about that? What are your
Yeah,
thoughts and feelings about that? Because that's what's
yeah.
bringing it more and more into your life, because that's where that needs to shift.
The attachments.
Right. Exactly. You know what I mean? And when you can get clear on that and going, okay, I want more of this in my life and I want less of this, then to feed the things that you want more of, you want to engage more in those. You want to invoke those feelings more. You want to surround yourself with people who invoke those feelings more.
Nice. Yeah.
and cut out the other stuff that you're like, nah, I don't want that more in my life. Because you
Right.
see people go, I don't want that in my life, but yet they're they're and participating in it. They're activating in it. They're doing exercises that bring that more into your life.
Yeah.
So it's like on one hand you're telling me you don't want it, but on the other hand, your actions are showing that you do.
Right. Right. No, great tip, brother. It's like that job, man. You know, that person I know quit.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's like, I can't no more, and because it's okay having those moments of, you're not going to get away from it, suffering. It's there. Well,
For
you're never
sure.
getting away from suffering, right? Every
Mm.
day there's something, right? But to balance it out with those moments of joy, you know, and being
Yeah.
okay with balancing it with joy. There may have been a death in the family, and there's a really sad situation that's going on. But don't feel guilty when you have those moments where you may laugh, because those are
Well,
the
and
those are the
it's
things you pull in.
right, and that's where your culture comes in, and that's where I would say question what you believe and what you think, because right, there's other cultures who celebrate death. It's not a sad
Sure.
event.
Right.
It's not a sad
Right.
event at all. It's a big party.
Right. For sure. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what
I
I
told
mean?
my kids, I said, put me in the box and play freaking Thunderstruck by AC/DC as I'm coming. I swear to God, I keep saying it. I want Thunderstruck by AC/DC as they're wheeling me in my freaking box. Just a Publix box. I don't give a shit, right? Because it costs too much money. It costs too much money to freaking put me in a bit of wood, and you got to kill trees
Well,
to put me in.
now they got things where they can put you in like this suit and you become fertilizer for the ground.
Oh, even better. Do that. Yeah, I'll be fertilizer. It's sweet, mate. Yeah, I'll put me on a rocket and send me up, 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 like out, because you ain't gonna want me back on Earth. You want me reborn somewhere else, right? I
Well,
believe in Buddhism.
yeah.
There's rebirth, but not here. That's what that rocket
Well,
was that
and
they
that's and
tested out. That's me going on that, mate.
there goes Steve. Even though you're probably already gone, that's just your vessel. You know what I mean? Like that's just your this is just our human vessel. And that was something we actually had to do when I got certified. We had to do our funeral. We had
Holy
to write
shit!
the whole thing out in detail
Holy
from
shit!
who would come, who would speak, what did you want to be buried, like everything. And I remember at the time I
Wow!
was living in Phoenix with one of my best friends, and he walked into the room. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm writing out my funeral." And he goes, "What?" And I go, "I'm
Wow!
writing detailed about my funeral." And he's like, "I don't want to know." And I'm like, "We're all gonna die. We're
Wow!
dying every day."
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. As soon as you're born.
Right, you're dying. So, it was to get us comfortable with the fact of that and also understanding, right? It invokes a different perspective in your life. If you
Yeah.
know, right, tomorrow that you're going to die, that whole cliche thing, what would you do today? And that's your freedom, and that might give you an indication of the things you need to look at in your life and go, like that person.
Mhm.
Yeah, I make six figures, but this ain't filling me. This ain't filling my soul. So why am I doing this?
Right,
I'm out.
right, right. Yeah, I think that's where it went. It was just like, I'm done. I'm out. Right, I'm
And I
out.
and I I recommend, I praise people like that because that's not an easy choice, especially in this society. I'm sure people around him or that person would be like, "Are you crazy?" You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
money isn't everything. We have a very limited time here on this planet, and we're
yeah.
meant to enjoy it. And you got to get real with yourself, which is we're not good with that. And that's something that
Right.
right is the core of my practice is the whole becketing thing that came out was from friends.
Yeah,
We
yeah, yeah,
started using dream as a verb, and it was like it's the art of truth telling to yourself.
yeah. It is. It's how I got called Cockney Buddha.
Right.
My mate called me Cockney Buddha. My really good mate Paul. He named me it, right? And he was the one that
Yeah.
kind of guided towards Buddhism a little bit because I wasn't really sure what it was. And he goes, "Oh, you're Cockney Buddha." I'm like, "What?" And because he comes from the same area, in London, southeast London, as I was born in, right? Which
Right.
was weird because I met him in my backyard when he bought a house behind us. Fucking strange as shit. Because he moved in behind us and two houses over. So he's not directly, he's 2 houses over. And we were already living
Yeah.
here, and I'm looking through my back slide, and I can see him coming out into the backyard, right? Because there's no
Yeah.
fences or nothing like that. And he's out there, and I'm saying to my wife, he's English. And she's like, what? And I'm like, he's English. She goes, how do you know that? I'm like, I just know, right? So it turns out, long story short, that he comes from a place called Bermondsey, which is in London, southeast London, where I'm from, and it's about 20 minutes from where I lived in London, right?
Yeah.
Didn't know the guy, no clue. Met him over there. Ended up going back to England one year and meeting him over there, which was really weird because I met him here. But he called me Cockney Buddha. His words were, he looked at one of my blogs because I only had a website then, and he was reading one of my blogs because I was just starting out. I've got a website out there. He started reading a blog of mine. And as he's reading it, he calls me back in the office and he goes, your grammar sucks. And I went, yeah, I know. Right, because he's a freaking English. He's like, it bothers him. You know, you don't put the dot. It
Yeah. Yeah.
freaking it winds him up. So I do it even more. But right, because I'll do that. If I'm pissing you off, I'll do it more. So he's like, your grammar freaking sucks. He goes, but you need something. And I'm like, what? And he goes, you're Cockney Buddha. And that was it. And that then became something that I used to transition to.
Yeah.
Because now I've got a different demeanor, I answer to Cockney Buddha or Buddha or Cockney, anything, right? I used to have an old freaking nickname which is completely horrible. I'm not even going to say it. It's horrible word. It's freaking.
Oh, come
It
on,
used
say
to.
it.
No shit, no, no, no. You'll see errors. I'll be freaking while I'm lying. Be fucking shot, Eric, hung, I'll be there. No, you won't even see me, mate. No, I ain't saying my old nickname. It, I tell you what, people know that it's a horrible word for traveller people back in Britain, right? It's a horrible word that's used, right? And I got
Okay.
nicknamed it because my best mate saw Snatch, if you've ever seen it, the movie Snatch,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I saw it. Yeah.
He saw Snatch. You know what the travellers were called in that.
I don't
The,
remember.
it's a freaking horrible word, right? And I got nicknamed it. So they're like, you're, and I'm like, no, I ain't. No, I'm not. No, I ain't. You got them freaking. We didn't understand them in the movie. We don't understand you. So I got nicknamed this freaking nickname. Anyway, so I I got nicknamed that for freaking years. But as soon as Cockney Buddha come along, it was like, oh, okay. And my therapist will even say, if I'm in moments or situations, she'll say, what would Cockney Buddha do? It's weird how it clicks.
Yeah.
You're taking on, I want to be this person, not that person. So what
Right.
would Cockney Buddha do? And it just helps give you a bit of direction when you're kind of going off a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a
But
it's a permission slip. You know what I mean? It's a permission
yeah,
slip to say yeah. Sometimes unfortunately, we need them. It may sound silly. Um, why do I need a permission slip? But we do. You know, meditation is a
yeah,
permission slip. All these tools are permission slips to say it's okay to relax and go into whatever direction we're going to. So
yeah,
it's
for
funny
sure.
because the people I'm pet sitting for, she's from London.
Oh, get out of here.
No,
Do you
she
know
is.
where?
I don't know. I'd
Do you
have
know
to
where?
ask her. Yeah, she's from London. Her husband's from Alaska.
Get out of here. Wow.
They move here,
Wow.
so it's funny because she has like a ton of tea. She's got British tea here. You know, like she's her humor is very funny because when I have to message about the dogs, I said, "Do you want updates on the dogs?" And she's like, "I'm fine, whatever. You need to send them to my husband."
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's what we're like, mate. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She doesn't. She's hysterical. I love her to death. But yeah, she's from London. So
Can't find out where. I'd like to know where.
yeah, I'll find out. I'll ask her.
If you told
I'll
if you
text
told her my town, she'll go, oh,
her.
that that side of
Well, like
London.
she had told me, and I don't remember because I don't know anything about. I mean, eventually, I'd like to go over there and whatever. You know what I mean? Because she's like, you need a good British T-shirt or something to wear. I'm like, okay, where am I gonna get one of those? Like what?
I'll bring you one back when I go over. I'm probably going to go over there next year, so I'll bring you one back, matey. But it'd be good if you
Yeah,
went back and got it because it's a good
yeah.
town. It's a great city, matey. It is. It is.
Oh,
It's a
I'd
good
love to
city.
go over there. I mean, that's a goal of mine is to travel more and be overseas and do that. And I know, um, I don't know if Grom is on here now. He was earlier, but I know he like last time. I think remember I told you he's like you need a you need a different shirt. Hopefully, Grom,
Oh
this is a
yeah,
letter, but Grom says the shirt's okay.
yeah. So you stand out a little bit in
Yeah,
the in the background of the cream or whatever color grey couch, whatever that
yeah,
is.
yeah. It was great when he said that. I laughed. I was like, I appreciate that. So maybe if I get a British shirt, I'll wear that.
Big old freaking Union Jack on it.
Right.
Here I am. I want to know where she's from now, damn it. Is there no clues? I want to know now, damn it. I want to know where she's
I don't
from.
know. When we get off here, I'll look and see. I don't know. Like outside of, no, there's not a lot of clues. They're very much into Harry Potter and she loves
Oh,
reading
yeah.
and she's got this British tea here. There's tons of tea and I'm trying to
You
drink
go,
more and more
listen,
tea. So,
Beckett. When
uh,
we run out of tea, there's a serious problem in this house. When I'm looking at the last tea bag or something, because my wife literally has it just keeps coming on a rotation send thing, right? It
yeah.
just keeps getting delivered, and we buy. I'm not kidding. We buy a boxes of tea, right? Because since my wife's married me, she's like a big tea freak,
Well,
right? She like
I'm trying to transfer from coffee to tea. I drink tea occasionally. My mom drinks tea, but it doesn't. That's one of those things. Coffee doesn't sit with me much anymore. So it's like I'm trying to transfer over to tea. Um,
Yeah, it's good, man. Well, it doesn't go with your name, matey. Remember I told you Beckett? It's very English, like White Horse. Beckett! It's not Beckett, and I'm going to have a cup of coffee, is it?
I,
Tea! The freaking. And then you says to me, well, I'm Nordic, I'm Viking. And I'm like, oh, yeah, weren't we fighting you like? Weren't you like
well, maybe I need some good English tea, whatever that
you need
is.
a good
But
English tea, mate? Wet your whistle a little bit. Get your old mouth
yeah,
all lubricated
feel
up.
free. Yeah, just be like, here, you need to be drinking this. But she has a container in there of British
Yeah, I want to know what
tea
she's from.
of some. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know nothing about it. So don't
Yeah.
hate the messenger. But I don't know
Anyway,
anything
have
about
we got?
British
Is
tea.
there anybody on here? How many people do we have actually in
There
here?
was people on, and then I know we've gone over, so I don't even
Yeah,
know. I haven't even looked.
I don't know if
So
anybody's got questions or anything like that. If they want to,
I know we
if
missed last week, and I think that kind of screwed up our people coming in, and the timing
it's all
is
right.
all messed up. Probably next week it'll be better because I
Yeah,
don't
no
know. I
problem.
don't see anything as far as that. So
It's all
on
right.
that
All right.
note,
All right.
um,
Yeah, it's been good. Great convo. We didn't stay on. We
yeah,
didn't stay on point again like we always do. We always go off and make squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. We.
I know. We
It's
ended a
my.
squirrel, but hopefully, I think, and if you guys are watching the replay, we met last week to kind of bring this into a structure. And so you're going to see us start talking about topics monthly and kind of touching on a specific topic for a couple times. Also, if you guys are interested in coming on live with us, we want to start doing that too. We'll pick somebody random who
Yeah.
maybe is dealing with something and wants to kind of have a session almost with Cockney and I, and
Yeah.
we'll help you work through something live once a month. So we're going to be doing those two things. So
Yeah.
we'd love to
Yeah.
hear from you guys. Any feedback is greatly appreciated, brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're a gem, matey. You're a gem. Thank you very much again. I love you. And we this ain't like we don't end here for our audience. We're always freaking talking because he's
I know.
mental. We're always and he
But we'll
fits
see
my
you guys
personality.
next week, hopefully next Friday. So
Yeah,
bye, guys.
absolutely. Love you.
All right, let's